What's up, everybody? It's Keith, and this is Plugged On, and a little bit different scenery that I do in my house. The table that we normally use, or that I normally use for videos, is currently being occupied for the wrapping of Christmas presents. So I had to make do with a little bit different thing, and I almost like this a little bit better. So I'm kind of old school, sitting on a couch talking about stuff. But the trailer, the first trailer for the Avengers Infinity War came out today. And so I'm going to do a video. I'm going to kind of recap a good bit of what happens in the trailer, some of the moments that I think stand out and that I thought were interesting, and then just like other things. So the trailer kind of opens up with shots of the various heroes, talking, like Tony Stark, I think Bruce Banner, the Doctor Strange, and Thor, to name a few, and it's kind of all showing them like kind of at various spots. Like it looks like a down and beaten Tony in one spot. It shows that Bruce Banner has somehow ended up back on Earth, and he ends up meeting up with Doctor Strange and his companion from Doctor Strange movie. I don't remember his name. I'm sorry. It's been like a year since that movie came out, and I haven't watched it again. And it just kind of like shows like a brief thing of like kind of like where they're all at, and then it finally comes together, and it starts to show Thanos, the Mad Titan, and what he's doing. So for one of the things is that there apparently is like a giant circular object that looks, I think it's like a portal, which I would assume is a portal that shows up in New York. And so Peter Parker sees this, and so he ends up getting in his new Spider-Man suit, which is red and black. It looks kind of similar to the one that like Tony tried to give to him at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming. And he goes, I'm assuming he goes and lands on it in an attempt to try to destroy it. Whereas like at the same time you see again Doctor Strange and again his companion with Bruce Banner and Tony Stark, and they're kind of looking at destruction in New York. And then at the same time, as all this is going on, there's all kinds of other shots. There was an interesting shot of Vision looking human, and him and Scarlet Witch having an intimate moment. And he still has the Mind Stone in this shot, which kind of becomes a little bit more important later. And so the trailer is basically just like a big setup thing for what's going to happen. So, I mean, a lot of characters that we knew were going to be in the movie, they show up. So, for one thing, of course, we see Captain America, but he's got like a thick beard, which I think works because, I guess he's the Nomad now, which is kind of what when he gave up being Captain America in the comics, he went by the name Nomad for a while. So that's the name I'll give him for now. And they tell him, get him a shield. You see Bucky, who has his arm back. So and you see Black Panther, and then you see Denai's character from Black Panther. She's Denai, who plays Michonne in The Walking Dead. She's there. And it's like and there's like kind of like a bunch of things that happen throughout the trailer. You see Loki with the Tesseract. Loki saw the Tesseract when he was in Asgard in Thor Ragnarok. So I'm almost wondering is Loki going to try to side with Thanos? I mean, I know that he kind of did in the Avengers, but at this point I would hope that maybe Loki would try to be a good guy. Maybe he tries to buy in with Thanos because he thinks Thanos is on the winning side, but then he gets double-crossed. Again, that's me being very, very hopeful. But there's a lot of battle sequences. So apparently, and it kind of makes sense in a lot of ways that Wakanda is under attack, and that's why I like Black Panther and like a lot of people like that. And you see, like, again, other heroes in that area all fighting against like a huge army of creatures that are following Thanos. And some of the people who are down there fighting would be, the Wakandan army, Bucky, the Winter Soldier, Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, but she's got blonde hair. I mean, probably in an attempt to maybe hide her identity, since she's probably a fugitive for helping, Tony, helping Steve and Bucky escape in Cap 3. And then you also see War Machine. Apparently he can get back in the suit and he can fly around, and same thing with Falcon. Falcon's there. and the Hulk stays on Earth. And so I thought that was fairly interesting. So you see them, they're kind of fighting the forces on Earth, whereas it appears that, like, somehow, and maybe the reason I think that circular thing earlier in the trailer was a portal was because somehow it looks like Spider-Man ends up in space, and then we know Tony also looks like he ends up in space, and Thor is in space, and I assume Vision might probably be in space as well. I'd say, again, it's kind of iffy because they don't show where every character is. Like, you don't know where Scarlet Witch or Vision end up in the fighting, really. And you don't really figure out where Doctor Strange is at in the fighting. I think he might go up into space as well. But, you know, like, the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to be fighting Thanos on some other planet or entity. And then same thing with that. And the Guardians are noticeably absent from the trailer a little bit. They only really show up at the end. Is, I guess, part of the moment that was shown off in the footage that was shown off at Comic-Con, where Thor, they kind of find Thor, and Thor's on their ship, and he goes, "Who the hell are you guys?" And it's Mantis and Star-Lord and all that. So this really is, like, just about everybody coming together. About the only people that we don't see is, you don't see Captain Marvel, but that's because her movie hasn't happened yet. Also, her movie takes place in the past. Her movie takes place in the 90s, so I would assume that maybe she wouldn't show up. And there's no Ant-Man. Ant-Man or Wasp don't show up in this, which, I mean, maybe because I could understand some Avengers being kind of pushed to the side because there's already a lot of people who kind of get screen time. And plot-wise, like, to me it makes sense that, like, some of them would make sense that they're in certain spots. You know, that, like, if Tony, if both Tony and Peter end up, you know, in space, and that's probably because of the portal, which makes me think Doctor Strange is. But it looks really cool. I think they dialed back the way Thanos looks. Like, he's not wearing, like, the headpiece or whatever that he was wearing in the other ones. He's kind of bald head. But you do get to see the Infinity Gauntlet, in which I think, who knows, he might get all of them. He might get all the Infinity Stones, because we are aware of the existence of five Infinity Stones. And we know for a fact that I think he gets the one from the purple one from Guardians of the Galaxy. It looks like he gets the Tesseract in his gauntlet. And then in one scene, it looks like it appears to me to be someone trying to rip the Mind Stone off of Vision. So we can assume he gets 3, and then we know Doctor Strange is 4, but then we don't know about the Aether or the 6th one, because I believe there's 6. Yeah, I believe that there's 6 Infinity Stones. If not, there might be 5. But it'd be interesting to see if he gets them all. And it's just, the trailer looks really good. I just hope that they pull off this Avengers movie a little bit better than the last one, because my main complaint with Avengers Age of Ultron was maybe there was a little too much. Or, I don't know, you got to find a balance with these movies of having the individual stories of the individual people and kind of convey that well, but then also you can't have a huge deal. You can't make it a huge deal with the individual people because have some major storylines, because, you know, you have to make time for everybody. And now there's easily twice as many people in this Avengers in this movie as there was in Age of Ultron. I mean, Age of Ultron was the core, you know, it was, you know, Cap, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and then Vision, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver. So there's 9, and then, you know, you take away Quicksilver, but then you have the entire cast of the Guardians. You got War Machine, you got Rhodey. Another person who wasn't in the trailer was Hawkeye. He's not really there. But, like, it would seem weird to not include, like, you have to find a way to make everybody fit, but at the same time kind of build for the future. Because for one thing, we don't know what Avengers 4 is. Now, you know, originally Avengers 4 was supposed to be Infinity War Part 2. But now, like, is it going to be the same story? Like a continuation of the story from Avengers 3? Or is it going to be a different, or is it going to be like a different story? Which kind of brings up a couple interesting questions, because, like, we know that, you know, Captain Marvel probably won't be in this. But then it also begs the question of, if Ant-Man and Wasp takes place in between the two Avengers movies, does that mean Ant-Man's not going to be in the movie? Does that mean he's not going to, or Wasp, or neither of them going to be in the Avengers? That's a very interesting question. And we're kind of getting to the point now where this movie might dictate what happens with the future phases of Marvel. Because, one thing, Marvel came out and they said they have 20 movies planned. 20! Which could either be a good thing or a bad thing, because I think that, sequels could be great. There's obviously going to be sequels to Doctor Strange. There's obviously going to be a sequel to Spider-Man. I almost guarantee there's going to be a sequel to Guardians of the Galaxy. It's some of the other ones that kind of leave it up in the air. Like, there probably won't be another Captain America. There probably won't be another Thor. I can almost assure that there won't be another Iron Man movie. And it also just begs the question of, well, who's going to survive this? Because, it would seem weird to bring... I don't know. I think the only person I could see not making it would be Iron Man. I could see Robert Downey Jr. maybe being like, okay, I'm kind of, I'm done. Because, Iron Man 4 has kind of fallen through. I don't think there's ever going to be an Iron Man 4. But, yeah. And it's also just an interesting time. Because, again, everything is in flux right now with Marvel. Because, they planned. This is kind of the moment that we've been building to ever since the Avengers. And this has been the moment that, where there was an obvious future for the MCU. And now, kind of going forward, it's uncharted territory. We don't know what's going to happen after this. Especially now with, things with, Disney supposedly trying to purchase 20th Century Fox. So does that mean you have all of the X-Men and Fantastic Four movies that could potentially come out? We don't know. And it makes it almost kind of exciting because, in a lot of ways, even though it could seem like a bad thing because it obviously was a thing that hurt, I think in the long run hurt Age of Ultron, I think that this movie is going to be bigger than anything we've ever seen. All of these great characters coming together, and I guarantee it's going to be a long movie. And like I said, I almost kind of hope it's like a 2-movie thing. Maybe... because again, in the Infinity War in the comics, or when Thanos gets his hands on the Infinity Gauntlet, he wipes out literally half of the population of the universe just because he can. And so, I don't know. I'm super interested. This could be something great, and I think the trailer does a good job of painting all of the stuff and kind of showing characters where they're supposed to go. And yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. So I'm super excited. I might, even though I'm not going to go out of my way to avoid it, I might try to avoid any more trailers after this, just because that usually ends up being the problem anymore with movies. Is the first trailer's good and it's boom, it gets you excited. But then if you start watching more trailers, more and more stuff gets spoiled for you. So yeah, so I'm not going to out if it's in a movie theater while I'm at the movies and whatever. But yeah. So, Infinity War was on my radar, and now I'm actually a little bit excited for it now. So, May 2017, probably Memorial Day weekend 2017 can't come soon enough. And even though, we're still a month away, it looks like 2018, I'm sorry, 2018 is going to be a hell of a year for movies, and especially Marvel. Even Marvel movies. We got Black Panther coming out, which somehow that's going to be setting up Infinity War. So it's going to get super cool, and it's going to get a lot of fun from here on out. So thank you for watching. Let us know what you think of the new Avengers trailer, and any kind of thoughts and opinions on what you think will happen, interpretations of what the trailer says. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I think last I checked, we're still super close to 2,000 subscribers, and we want to get there. So spread the word. Let people know. We get to 2,000 subscribers, and then that'll just be a grand old time. So thank you guys for watching, and I shall talk to you later.